Messi flying forward. Leo Messi!
United. Rafael Guerrero with the cross. Ronaldo.
So Arsenal have agreed a deal worth more than £50 million to sign Aston Villa defender Ezri Konsa. Of course, Konsa has joined the side, the 28-year-old who joined the Villains back in July 2019. Has made about 286 appearances over the past 7 seasons in the Prem. Is Ezri Konsa worth a fee of more than £50 million? And what does Konsa bring to Arsenal's defense going into the new campaign? Meanwhile, Jose Mario dos Santos Felix Mourinho, according to reports told Vinicius Jr., it wasn't worth it. Yeah, it wasn't worth it leaving Real Madrid. Yeah, as he successfully persuaded the Brazilian to remain at the side. He said it wasn't worth it leaving Real Madrid for Arsenal. Was Mourinho right to tell VDJ that leaving wasn't worth it after he joined from a Brazilian side some seasons back? And what will Vinicius Jr. have gained by leaving Real Madrid for the Gunners this very summer? Just so you know, Manchester United's midfield reconstruction is nearing completion this very summer. According to Michael Carrick, he said, first and foremost, we want to win. Yeah, when asked what style of football he wanted his Manchester United team to play this very season. So, it's Man United midfield reconstruction finally nearing completion. Will they get it right going into the new season? What has been missing from United's midfield in recent seasons? Will the new midfield give Michael Carrick the control he wants? We've seen players such as, Andre Santos joining the side from Chelsea for about £50 million this summer. They also signed Yuri Telemore from Aston Villa. So before the Red Devils, kick off their Premier League season at Hull City this Saturday, it's a lunchtime kickoff, 12:30 p.m. What have we really learned from how Carrick has approached pre-season tactically? What have they done tactically? What have we really learned from Manchester United in pre-season? Have they shown signs of improvement whatsoever going into the new season? On that note, I say welcome to Sports 360 right here on CEM Television. I'm Dan the voice you trust and that media you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. So now let's get down to business already. We start off with Vinicius Jr. and Real Madrid, where Jose Mourinho told Vinicius Jr. it wasn't worth it leaving Real Madrid as he successfully persuaded the Brazilian to remain at the club. The 26-year-old had entered the final 12 months of his contract at Estadio Vicente Bernabeu, meaning he would have been able to leave Real Madrid for free next summer. Premier League champions Arsenal were alerted, to the possibility of landing one of the world's top wingers as contract talks wore on. But VDJ eventually committed his future to Real Madrid earlier this month by signing a 6-year contract extension. And Mourinho, who's 63 years of age, who's returned to Real Madrid for a second stint in charge, was confirmed in June, spoke of his part in keeping the Brazil international in the Spanish capital. Mourinho said on Spanish TV show El Chiringuito, he said in his words, and I quote, "Vinicius has fallen in love with Real Madrid. The one thing I told him was, Vini, where do you want to go? You've only been in Brazil and you only know Real Madrid. You understand Real Madrid when you leave, yeah? When you leave, that's when you realize what Real Madrid is. Don't leave. It's not worth it. Yeah, quote unquote. It's not worth it. I think what he felt in terms of the group's growth, the way we've been working and developing has given him the very important feeling. Mourinho came up against Real 3 times in the UEFA Champions League, and that was last season when he was manager of SL Benfica. During their second meeting, the first leg of their knockout phase playoff, Real Madrid players allegedly, are alleged that Benfica's Gianluca Prestiani racially abused Vinicius Junior, resulting in the match stopping for around 8 minutes. Prestiani denied the claims and Mourinho defended his player. Then, UEFA later banned Prestiani for 3 matches, with a further 3 suspended for homophobic conduct. Mourinho addressed the incident and said Vini Junior can rely on him to be on his side. Now he's come out saying, well, he played a key part in Vinicius Junior staying put right there at the side. Of course, Vinicius Junior has signed an extension right there at the Estadio de Santiago Bernabeu. He's set to be one of the most important players as usual going into the 2026-2027 campaign. Of course, he's been a force to reckon with since he joined Real Madrid. 4 seasons at Real. He joined at the age of 18. He didn't quite cut it at the side 4 seasons, but afterwards, he got into the right rhythm and he's been one of the most outstanding players at the side since joining Real Madrid. So he's set to work with Jose Mourinho. Of course, he wasn't quite happy with how, because I recall that game against SL Benfica in the UEFA Champions League last season. They fell out. They had this fallout, but I've managed to put that aside and are set to work together going into the new campaign. So, was Jose Mourinho right to tell Vinicius Junior that leaving was not worth it? Should Vinicius Junior have left Real Madrid for the Gunners Arsenal, who were interested in his services? Would a taste of the Premier League been worth it? Been good enough for Vinicius Junior instead of signing an extension right there at Real Madrid? A 6-year contract extension. That's a whole lot. What would Vinicius Junior have gained by leaving Real Madrid for Arsenal, for instance? Would he have gained anything at all by leaving Real Madrid for Arsenal? Imagine being at Real Madrid since the age of 18 and achieving greatness, winning the UEFA Champions League on different occasions, winning the La Liga Santander, and ending up as one of the most outstanding players currently in world football for Arsenal. Currently Premier League champions, but putting them side by side with Real Madrid. Hey, without sentiments, they don't come close. We're talking about Real, the most successful team, the most successful club in football history. Yeah, I keep saying it. Recall Carlo Ancelotti then at Real Madrid as the head coach. His last season at the side before he left and became the head coach of the Brazil national team. He said something on the B1 podcast that Real Madrid is the apex. That's the level. That's the apex of club football. We're asked by John Obi Mikel if he intends to, if he would love to join any other club or take any other club job if he leaves Real Madrid, or if he left Real Madrid. He said clearly, he's not interested. He's at Real Madrid, and that's the apex. When you play for Real Madrid, or if you're at Real Madrid, that's like the apex. You get to see definitely everything, in terms of achievement, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of everything you could think of as a player or manager. That's the apex. So Vinicius Junior leaving Real Madrid for Arsenal, imagine that happening. The Gunners were really optimistic. The Gunners fans were absolutely excited. They just couldn't believe it. Oh, Vinny J is coming to Arsenal, coming to Emirates Stadium. He ended up signing a 6-year contract extension. He wanted 100% image right, and then he wanted some, improved pay. Yeah, improved payment to extend his stay right there at the side. And yes, the Real Madrid hierarchy hit to his demands, and both parties came to a consensus. signing a 6-year contract extension. Now Mourinho is saying he said to Vini, it's not worth it. Leaving Real Madrid, it's not worth it. For who? Arsenal? Come on. Not worth it. So what would Vinicius Junior have gained? What would he have really gained by leaving Real Madrid for Arsenal? A feel of the Premier League? He's not played in the Prem before. Apart from Brazil, he's only been in Spain and Real Madrid. He's achieved virtually everything, a player would think of. The Gunners haven't even won the UEFA Champions League in the history. But VDJ has got more UEFA Champions League medals as a player than the entire Arsenal squad. So, ever, that's... But, for a team to continue to be at that very level, you need some of the best legs, all right, to maintain that high level of performance or achievement. You need some of the best legs. Mesut Ozil, way back, left Real Madrid for Arsenal. Throughout his stay at Arsenal, never won the Premier League title. He never did. Probably won the FA Cup, okay, but never won the Prem. Throughout his stay at Arsenal. But they seem to be on a different era. Mikel Arteta has brought in a whole lot at the side. He spent over 6 years at the side right now, and last time they won the Premier League title. Something to build on going into the new campaign. They also got to the final of the UEFA Champions League, and they are hoping to go a step further than what they achieved or what they did last season. Could this be the season they win the UEFA Champions League? Would the feel of the Premier League have been best for Vinicius Junior? Real have got Kylian Mbappe, Loton. They've made some quality signings this very summer. They still a Jude Bellingham in that very squad. And I expect it to have a pretty good run. The 2026-2027 season. It remains to be seen if Barca would come good as well, because for Barca, of course, they've just completed the signing of Rodrigo Hernandez Cascante from Manchester City. They also have the core of the group that won the La Liga Santander last term and got to the semis of the UEFA Champions League. So they are expected to come good, all right, maintain that high level of performance, and even go as far as winning the UEFA Champions League this season. But for La Liga Santander, they got Real to worry about, who have beefed up the squad. They've brought in Ibrahima Konate from Liverpool, made some quality signings. Bernardo Silva from Manchester City. You go on to mention, some quality players have joined. Defensively, they seem to be pretty solid. Going into the new season. So, would Vinicius Junior end up thanking his stars that he was able to extend his stay at Real Madrid rather than leave the side for Arsenal this very summer? I guess time will tell. Only time will tell. Alright, now let's stick with Arsenal. Now let's look at Arsenal in focus. They've agreed a deal worth more than £50 million to sign Aston Villa defender Ezri Konsa. The England international is set to have a medical before completing that switch to the Emirates Stadium. Of course, we revealed last week that Arsenal had reopened talks with Villa over a deal for Ezri Konsa, but still fell short of reaching an agreement. And of course, it's finally here. The Gunners then appeared to, pivot the Bayern Leverkusen's Zero Konsa. They said, "Oh, come on! If you can't get him, then we'll go for Zero Konsa." Leverkusen. Konsa was at Liverpool, left Liverpool for Leverkusen, and is courting at the side. He was part of the England side at the FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico, and Canada this very summer. However, Arsenal refocused their efforts on Konsa and have now struck a deal for the player with Aston Villa. The 28-year-old, who joined the Villains back in July 2019, has made about 286 appearances for over the past 7 seasons for Aston Villa since 2019 till date. 286 appearances. a proven player in the Premier League. Konsa featured 48 times last term in all competitions, scoring 2 goals as a defender and contributing 1 assist as Unai Emery's side lifted the UEFA Europa League and finished 4th in the Premier League to secure Champions League football for 2026-2027. Konsa has not featured at all. He's not featured at all during Aston Villa's pre-season games, including the 2-1 defeat to Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Super Cup, after Emery gave him 4 weeks off following the World Cup. He played in every game of England's World Cup run as the Three Lions finished as the top best team of the tournament. Speaking after the final warm-up match against Borussia Mönchengladbach, Aston Villa boss Unai Emery explained the absence of Konsa, Emiliano Martinez and Oli Watkins, saying they are joining us after this match. Yeah, they're joining us after this match. It now appears Ezri Konsa is now heading to Emirates Stadium to join the Gunners, talking about Arsenal for the new campaign 2026-2027. A really good signing, I tell you, for what it's worth. Every day of the year, proven, really solid at the back. Seemingly the proverbial break door of that Aston Villa side. Not just last season, but since he joined back in 2019. He's been consistent. He's been on the radar of several top teams. Ezri Konsa is his name. But then, is Konsa worth a fee of more than 50 million quid? Is he worth a fee of more than 50 million pounds? He's 28. Is he worth every penny? We've seen the Gunners splash about 75 million pounds for Bruno Guimaraes, who's also 28 years of age. He joined from Newcastle United. He was Newcastle United's captain at the age of 28. They paid about 75 million quid. And now Ezri Konsa, over 50 million pounds for his services, for his signature. What does Ezri Konsa bring to Arsenal's defense? Now, William Saliba is out injured. Yeah, the Gunners said Saliba, who was part of the French national team side at the just concluded FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada, will be out for an extended period, quote unquote extended period. So they needed a proven centre back to, fill in the void. Defensively, Arsenal have got options. They got quality at the back. They've been absolutely solid. The past how many seasons now? Really, really solid. Arsenal. Saliba was a key part of the Arsenal backline. Really solid. His partnership with Gabriel Magalhaes, oh goodness me, feels like friendship or a marriage made in heaven. Saliba is out for an extended period. Ezri Konsa has now joined. Really good signing, isn't it? That's a good signing. The kind of signing they need. Oh, yeah. Going into the new season. Yeah. A perfect replacement for the injured William Saliba. Will he cut it right there at Arsenal? Will he make instant impact at Emirates Stadium? A really good signing for Arsenal going into the new campaign. Is he worth over 50 million pounds? Is he worth every penny? Ask me, I say, well, he's worth it. Really, really worth it, I tell you, for free. Ezri Konsa, so proven. He needs no introduction. He was on the radar of several top teams. Several top teams this very summer. The Gunners have landed him. I mean, they've won his signature. And of course, we wait to see what what happens going into the new season. They need to retain the Premier League crown. The Arsenal, the Gunners need to retain the Premier League crown. They are the Arsenal. And the fans be like, oh, we've come to stay. This is our era. This is our time. I hear a lot of stories like, or talks of a new era in the Premier League. And that's Arsenal, the Premier League champions. For them, we wait to see. We can't say for what it's worth if they'll be as dominant as Manchester City were under Pep Guardiola. A new era has begun at City, under Enzo Maresca. We saw that on Sunday, they lost the Community Shield to the Gunners Arsenal. It was as easy as 1, 2 and 3 for the Gunners, the North London side, the Mikel Arteta-led Arsenal side. Well, you can't say for what it's worth if they'll go about business and, if they'll maintain such standard, all right, going into the new campaign. I can't say for what it's worth, but then they are expected to have a pretty good run. The Gunners are expected to have a good run. Enjoy, all what they've built in the last how many seasons under Mikel Arteta. It's beginning to pay off. Got to the final of the UEFA Champions League, won the Premier League title last season, got to a cup competition, domestically, but lost. This is a new season. No 2 seasons are the same. Is this Arsenal time? Could this be Arsenal's era of dominance? We can't say for what it's worth. Now, let's switch from North London to the city of Manchester, where United's midfield reconstruction is nearing completion. Nearing completion. After signing Andre Santos from Chelsea for about £50 million and Yuri Telemore from Aston Villa in the space of 24 hours of each other last month, there's been an element of will there, won't there about the past 5 weeks. Now, at times, it felt the top midfield search has taken on a life of its own. Real Madrid's Orion Tchouameni was heavily touted, so too Bournemouth's Alex Scott and Roma's Manu Kone. In more recent days, the name of Fulham's Sander Berge has become more prominent. That of Bournemouth's Tyler Adams has never gone away for the most part of the summer. United privately played down potential interest in Brighton's Carlos Baleba, but in a sense, they didn't need to be actively interested in him. Most of the work was done 12 months ago, just so you know. Now, the first offer has gone in, £60 million plus an additional £5 million. It won't be enough. Trust me, it won't be enough. Talks are continuing. So the expectation is the transfer will get done. That's the expectation. They'll eventually complete that very one. It is impossible to assess the merits of the actual transfers until the individuals concerned have played often enough to evaluate how well they've done. Carlos Baleba, pretty good midfielder. However, it is unfair to accept United's data and recruitment departments have succeeded in reshaping Michael Carrick's midfield. It was known back in January, veteran Brazilian midfielder Casemiro would leave when his contract expires on the 30th of June. Ruben Amorim's exit had already seen skipper Bruno Fernandes move into a more advanced role right there at the side, with Manuel Ugarte not rated highly despite his £50.8 million price tag. It meant United went into the summer with Kobe Mainoo as the only experienced midfielder likely to play a prominent part in the 2026-2027 season. Mainoo's strength is taking the ball in tight spaces and progressing it up the pitch. Santos has cleaned the defense excellently in preseason. Yuri Telemore has got composure. He's got an excellent passing range and is determined to increase his goals output. Now, what the defeat by AC Milan in Wrocław at the weekend highlighted was a lack of energy. A player in the old box-to-box mode. Baleba's main strength is his ability to cover the ground quickly. If the deal goes through, and when Baleba has recovered from an ankle injury sustained in preseason that is expected to keep him out for another couple of weeks, Michael Carrick will have variety of options, which also include Mason Mount. Scotland World Cup squad member Tyler Fletcher, and in extremis Bruno Fernandes. So United are no come on, they're in for the season. They're not joking at all from what we've seen so far. It's Manchester United's midfield reconstruction finally nearing completion. We had a bit of here and there last season. You know, Ruben Amorim saying Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainoo can play together in the same game. We've seen that already. We saw that under Michael Carrick last season, towards the end of last season, when Carrick took over on an interim basis. They played really well. They played together and it was a good one. Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainoo. Now, what has been missing from United's midfield in recent seasons? Are they gradually getting it right? Will that come good going into the new season? Will the new midfield give Michael Carrick the control he wants right there at Manchester United? Have they got enough to deliver? Are they looking pretty good? What have we really learned from Manchester United in pre-season? Are they really good to go? Are they a team to watch this new season? In the Premier League and of course the UEFA Champions League, after gaining promotion, after finishing in the top 4, finishing 4th on the look in the Premier League, getting one of the UEFA Champions League tickets for the 2026-2027 campaign. United last time had no European presence. It was all domestic competitions. The Premier League, the FA Cup, and of course the Carabao Cup. They didn't play more than 40 games. Last season, competitions. Manchester United, really, really disappointing. They had Ruben Amorim at the aim of affairs, but then Carrick came in with a different style. The intriguing thing about Michael Carrick is he happens to be a former player of the side. He's a United legend, a former captain of the club. So he understands the culture. He knows the United culture. Like, he knows what's expected of the team, of the manager, and of course the players. Because, for instance, Marcus Rashford was his teammate at Manchester United. So he knows what it is to be a player. That man managed, not just a player, but a Manchester United player. He spent several years at Old Trafford. So the mentality of the players is what he understands really well. He knows the United culture. So, of course, he said the target is to go all out. Even Harry Maguire, who was one of the leaders in the dressing room, said, come on, the target is the Premier League title. That's what is expected of Manchester United. Come on, that's the target. After finishing 4th from nowhere last term, the target is to win the Premier League. That's the aim. So the midfield was a key problem. It was for the most part Bruno Fernandes doing the job for the most part of last how many seasons now. Casemiro was consistent in patches, greatly criticized, but last term we saw a different Casemiro, especially when Michael Carrick took over. United fans fell in love again with Casemiro, but then he announced his departure from the side. He said, oh well, despite United having the option to trigger an extension, a 1-year extension, he said, well, he wants to leave. It's best you leave on a high. Leave when the vision is high. And that's exactly what Casemiro did. He left. They brought in Andres Santos from Chelsea, £50 million. Yuri Telemon from Aston Villa, and are set to bring in Carlos Baleba from the Seagulls. Talking about Brighton and Hove Albion. They've submitted a bid worth £60 million plus £5 million in add-ons. But hey, that's not enough. I can tell you for free. Brighton won't let go of Carlos Baleba for, let's say, a £65 million. No, they want more than that sum, more than that amount. And United, from what we've gathered, are optimistic that, oh well, a deal will be done. They'll reach an agreement with the Seagulls, Brighton and Hove Albion for that man, talking about Carlos Baleba. You wait to see what happens in the coming days. It's quite interesting to have this conversation coming up at this point in time. United are pumped up and are gearing up for the new campaign. Same as other teams. Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City. Okay, yeah, they're in the conversation. you can't rule them out. Yeah, weren't impressive in the Community Shield against Arsenal, but then we wait to see what happens when the season starts in earnest. The first Premier League game of the season will be an encounter pitting current holders, champions Arsenal. The Arsenal against newly promoted side, that's Coventry City, a side led by Franz James Lampard on Friday Night Football. We can't wait for that very one. So it's a battle between Premier League winners Arsenal and Championship winners Coventry City on Friday Night Football. Both teams are expected to bring in their A game and hit the ground running already this very season. Anyways, time will tell. Sadly, we can't go any further right here on Sports 360, as this is where we get to put a pin this afternoon. Been a great time with you out there. Best believe you are the real MVP. I mean that, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. Who read? They serious, but now who pass? Nah, he no book. For now, it's a wrap.
Messi flying forward. Leo Messi!